Conversation. Copy, paste in Word, change font, Times New Roman, size 10. Conversation. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Jump to, navigation, search. This article is about human communication. For other uses, see conversation, disambiguation. Banter redirects here. For the BBC radio show, see Banter, radio show. Arnold Lakowski, The Conversation. Conversation is interactive, more or less spontaneous, communication between two or more conversants. Interactivity occurs because contributions to a conversation are response reactions to what has previously been said. Spontaneity occurs because a conversation must proceed, to some extent, and in some way, unpredictably. Contrast with a scripted conversation, which falls outside this definition. However, the scope of that spontaneity may legitimately be somewhat pre-limited for the purpose of expediency, for example a talk show or a debate. Conversations are sometimes the ideal form of communication, depending on the conversant's intended ends. Conversations may be ideal when, for example, each party desires a relatively equal exchange of information, or when one party desires to question the other. On the other hand, if permanency, or the ability to review such information is important, written communication may be ideal. Or if time efficiency is most important, a speech may be preferable. For a successful conversation, the partners must achieve a workable balance of contributions. A successful conversation includes mutually interesting connections between the speakers or things that the speakers know. For this to happen, those engaging in conversation must find a topic on which they both can relate in some sense. Conversation is indispensable for the successful accomplishment of almost all activities between people, especially the coordination of work, the formation of friendship, and for learning citation needed right. Conversation analysis is a branch of sociology which studies the structure and organization of human interaction, with a more specific focus on conversational interaction citation needed right. Contents, hide right. 1. Classification of conversation in groupings. 1.1 Topics. 1.2 Objectives. 1.3 Strategies. 2. Special conversants. 2.1 Conversation between men and women. 2.2 Conversation between strangers. 2.3 Conversational narcissist. 2.4 Conversation with artificial intelligence, AI. 2.5 Conversing with oneself. 3. Conversation in the media. 4. Literature on conversation. 5. See also. 6. References. 7. External links. Edit right classification of conversation in groupings. Edit right topics. Many conversations can be divided into 4 categories according to their major subject content. Conversations about subjective ideas, which often serve to extend understanding and awareness. Conversations about objective facts, which may serve to consolidate a widely held view. Conversations about other people, usually absent, which may be either critical, competitive, or supportive. This includes gossip. Conversations about oneself, which sometimes indicate attention-seeking behavior. Practically, few conversations fall exclusively into one category. Nevertheless, the proportional distribution of any given conversation between the categories can offer useful psychological insights into the mindset of the participants. Edit right Objectives. Most conversations may be classified by their goal. Conversational ends may, however, shift over the life of the conversation. Functional conversation is designed to convey information in order to help achieve an individual or group goal, and may include teaching, where conversants assume the roles of teacher and student, where one desires to learn from the other, usually where the student assumes that the position of the teacher is correct. Discussion, where conversants compare, contrast and evaluate the conversants' respective ideas, without an opinion or position as to the correctness of any idea. Debate, where conversants' objectives are to convince others of one's position, usually where the debater assumes that the position of his opponent is incorrect. Small talk is a type of conversation where the topic is less important than the social purpose of achieving bonding between people or managing personal distance. Banter is non-serious conversation, usually between friends, which may rely on humor or in-jokes at the expense of those taking part. The purpose of banter may at first appear to be an offensive affront to the other person's face. However, people engaging in such a conversation are often signaling that they are comfortable enough in each other's company to be able to say such things without causing harm. Banter is particularly difficult for those on the autism spectrum and those with semantic pragmatic disorder. Left square bracket edit right square bracket strategies. Many conversants develop strategies of achieving successful conversation, both over the course of their lives, and over the course of an individual conversation. Those engaging in conversation may tend to relate the other speaker's statements to themselves left square bracket citation needed right square bracket. They may insert aspects of their lives into their replies, to relate to the other person's opinions or points of conversation. Left square bracket edit right square bracket special conversants. Left square bracket edit right square bracket conversation between men and women. A study completed in July 2007 by Matthias Mill of the University of Arizona shows that contrary to popular belief, there is little difference in the number of words used by men and women in conversation. Left square bracket 1 right square bracket. The study showed that on average each of the sexes uses about 16,000 words per day. Left square bracket edit right square bracket conversation between strangers. There are certain situations, typically encountered while traveling, which result in strangers sharing what would ordinarily be intimate social space such as sitting together on a bus or airplane. In such situations, strangers are likely to share intimate personal information they would not ordinarily share with strangers. A special case emerges when one of the travelers is a mental health professional and the other party shares details of their personal life in the apparent hope of receiving help or advice. Left square bracket 2 right square bracket. Left square bracket edit right square bracket conversational narcissist. Conversational narcissism is a term used by sociologist Charles Gerber in his book, The Pursuit of Attention, Power and Ego in Everyday Life. Gerber observed that the social support system in America is relatively weak, and this leads people to compete mightily for attention. In social situations, they tend to steer the conversation away from others and toward themselves. Conversational narcissism is the key manifestation of the dominant attention-getting psychology in America, he wrote. It occurs in informal conversations among friends, family and co-workers. The profusion of popular literature about listening and the etiquette of managing those who talk constantly about themselves suggests its pervasiveness in everyday life. What Gerber describes as conversational narcissism often occurs subtly rather than overtly, because it is prudent to avoid being judged an egotist. Gerber distinguishes the shift response from the support response left square bracket clarification needed right square bracket. left square bracket edit right square bracket conversation with artificial intelligence, AI. The ability to generate conversation that cannot be distinguished from a human conversant has been one test of the successful artificial intelligence, the Turing test. A human judge engages in a natural language conversation with one human and one machine, each of which tries to appear human. If the judge cannot tell the machine from the human, the machine is said to have passed the test. One limitation is that the conversation is limited to a text. Left square bracket edit right square bracket conversing with oneself. Also called intrapersonal communication. Sometimes such talking to oneself can help solve problems, or serve therapeutic purposes, such as the avoidance of silence. However, conversing with oneself has also been linked with some mental illnesses, such as schizophrenia. Left square bracket edit right square bracket conversation in the media. As a prominent and useful figure in most human lives, conversation is often used in the media, for example talk shows such as William F. Buckley's Firing Line or The Dick Cavett Show. Left square bracket edit right square bracket literature on conversation. Authors who have written extensively on conversation and attempted to analyze its nature include Milton Wright wrote The Art of Conversation, a comprehensive treatment of the subject, in 1936. The book deals with conversation both for its own sake and for political, sales, or religious ends. Milton portrays conversation as an art or creation that people can play with and give life to. Kerry Patterson, Joseph Rennie, Al Switzler, and Ron Macmillan have written 2 New York Times best-selling books on conversation. The first one, Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High, McGraw-Hill, 2002, teaches skills for handling disagreement and high-stakes issues at work and at home. The second book, Crucial Confrontations, Tools for Resolving Broken Promises, Violated Expectations, and Bad Behavior, McGraw-Hill, 2005, teaches important skills for dealing with accountability issues. Charles Blackburn has written 2 books defending an approach to politics that emphasizes conversation, in contrast to negotiation, as the preferred means of resolving conflict. His From Pluralist to Patriotic Politics, Putting Practice First, Oxford and New York, Oxford University Press, 2000, ISBN 0198296886, is a work of political philosophy, and his Shall We Dance? A Patriotic Politics for Canada, Montreal and Kingston, McGill Queen's University Press, 2003, ISBN 07735259663, applies that philosophy to the Canadian case. Paul Drew and John Heritage, Talk at Work, a study of how conversation changes in social and workplace situations. Neil Postman, Amusing Ourselves to Death. Conversation is not the book's specific focus, but discourse in general gets good treatment here. Deborah Tannen. The Argument Culture, Stopping America's War of Words. Conversational Style, Analyzing Talk Among Friends. Gender and Discourse. I only say this because I love you. Talking from 9 to 5, women and men at work. That's not what I meant. You just don't understand, women and men in conversation. Daniel Menaker, A Good Talk, The Story and Skill of Conversation, published 2010. Stephen Miller, Conversation, A History of the Declining Art, provides an extensive history of conversation which dates back to the ancient Greeks with Socrates, and moving forward, to coffee houses around the world, as well as the modern forces of the electronic age, talk shows, etc. Copy, paste in Word, change font, Times New Roman, size 10.